Almost in the middle of the Bible, we find the songbook of God's people, the book of Psalms, with words for every human situation, from joy to suffering to cries for justice. But with the passage of time, we have lost the music, and we have only the words. But those words still speak powerfully to us across almost 3,000 years of use. They are our oldest private and community prayers. We know that Jesus, like all the Jews of his day, would have memorized them. In fact, he died with one on his lips in his last teaching moment. From the cross, he summoned enough strength to begin Psalm 22. My God, why have you forsaken me? All those in hearing distance would have automatically recited the rest of the psalm to themselves and would have discovered that suffering was part of the messianic mission, but that mission would end in triumph. We can't think that that was long ago and has no relationship to us. Poetry has always spoken across time, since it taps into the human heart. And that is why we need to make the Psalms a part of our prayer lives. There are 150 of them, just waiting for us to discover them. Every liturgy uses a psalm as our response to the first reading, although we do not always recognize it as such. And it's interesting to remember that once an army of psalm singers won a great victory. In the second book of Chronicles, chapter 20, King Jehoshaphat of Jerusalem is being invaded by enemies from the south. He gathers his pitifully small army together, and they march off, singing Psalm 136, which is a litany of the great things that God has done for his people. Each verse ends with the refrain, "For his steadfast love endures forever." The army bravely sings that refrain with confidence as they march into the mountains where the enemy has already lost its way. Those narrow canyons echo the song of the tiny army, making them sound like an army of thousands. In terror, the enemy flees and is destroyed. Still singing, the king's army marches back to Jerusalem, triumphant. Can you hear them? We might not have a war to win, but we so often need words to supplement our own cries to God. Why don't we begin to make our own list of psalms for those days when we come to prayer and human words fail? The psalms are waiting, sometimes bold, sometimes angry, often patient, but always confident that God is there to listen. And what joy it is to know that we are praying with the same words that Jesus used in the synagogues of Galilee. Could anything be better?